So, hey everyone, I'm Alice from North Carolina and want to talk just for a few minutes about our sequential funding project that we have with IPS. On the screen, you'll see a kind of a flow chart of arrows about the order in which we go through. So, we've established a value-based sequential purchasing model for IPS known as NC Core, the North Carolina Collaborative for Ongoing Recovery Through Employment. And this funding model touches about 50% of our state. When IPS was initially introduced in North Carolina, the service was heavily dependent on state and Medicaid funds. And as partnerships increased with VR, we began to discuss the benefits of sequential funding, which would allow VR to contribute to the overall cost of the service. And our state and Medicaid dollars could be stretched a little bit further. When we fully share in the cost of the service, VR contributes just over $8,000 to the cost of the service, and not to mention all the vocational expertise that we bring to the team. What we've noticed is that this shared funding has allowed teams to operate at a profit. They've been able to add staff, and the savings to our LME MCOs have allowed for providers to be expanded, and they were able to offer some stabilizing payments during the initial parts of the pandemic. I want to take just a few minutes to look at the sequential funding established in North Carolina. The blue milestones are funded through state or Medicaid dollars, and the orange are VR funds. The first milestone is engagement. It's an outreach milestone in which the IPS team really talks to an individual about IPS and gains their interest in pursuing employment. For our targeted population, it's likely to take several visits for an individual to express interest in pursuing competitive integrated employment, so we allow that milestone to be earned multiple times. Once interest is expressed, a career profile is developed, and milestone 2 is paid out. Moving on to milestone 3, job development with retention. This is a VR funded milestone, and we can pay this multiple times as we understand that if an individual may not have worked in many years, it might take a few jobs to figure out the best setting. Moving on sequentially, job supports are initiated after an individual has obtained employment. And again, if it's taking a couple of jobs to find the right fit, we want to support individuals on those jobs. So this milestone can also be paid multiple times. Once there's independence that's been achieved at work, VR begins the 90-day count. And once achieved, we have a 90-day successful employment payment. Funding doesn't end here, though. Next slide, please. We move on to another milestone payment funded by state or Medicaid dollars of 210 days employment. And finally, there's a milestone for vocational advancement, which includes pursuing further education for career advancement or assisting an individual with a promotion. Each milestone has specific documentation required for approval, and that last milestone, 7A or 7B, can be applied at any point during the continuum of milestone services. Lastly, we're encouraging our LME MCOs to establish incentives for referral sources to ensure we're serving the targeted population. This is still under construction in North Carolina, but we're making great progress in that. So looking forward to seeing where that lands and how it impacts the population that we hope to serve.